and welcome to another video. Today's lesson is brought to you by redheart.com. In today's lesson we will learn how to make these really easy shoelaces. It is a great beginner project. So let's get started on the lesson. In today's video we're going to be using Red Heart Super Saver yarn. You're not going to need very much at all because it's only a small project. I'm using colour Shocking Pink. And we also need a crochet hook to go with your yarn. I am using a 5.5mm crochet hook. That is also equivalent to an eye size hook. And on the label, somewhere it will tell us, here we go, it will tell us what crochet hook to use, and here it says 5.5mm crochet hook, so that's, or a size I, so that's good, that's what we're using. So always look on your label and that will recommend for you what size to use. And this is medium worsted weight yarn. Now this is American yarn. If you're in Australia or the UK, it will be equivalent to approximately a 10 ply yarn. But we can use many different yarns for this project, but today we're going to use Red Heart Super Saver. So we're also going to need a pair of sharp scissors and a measuring tape as well. We won't need a sewing needle in this project because we aren't actually going to sew in our ends, which is great. This is a great beginner's project as well because it only uses the chain stitch, which is one of the first stitches after you learn how to do a slip knot. That will be the first stitch that you learn how to make. There are many different ways to make slip knots. The way I do it may not be the way that you do it or the way that you've been taught by somebody else, but as long as you're making a slip knot, it doesn't really matter how you do it. So an easy way to make a slip knot is to put your yarn like so, grab your short end and place it over the top of the long strand there. You're going to flip this over and place it laying on top of the yarn there. Grab that section, hold your short end and your yarn that's attached to your ball and just pull like so, and that will make a slip knot. Like I said, there are plenty of different ways to do that. And you would normally leave about a 2, maybe 3 inch end. If you're going to be sewing your ends in on a project, you're going to want about this much. We don't need it to sew our ends in on this project, but if you're making a scarf or a hat or anything like that, you're going to need a little bit to sew in, and that stops our ends unraveling, which we don't want to do after we've spent all that time on our project. So to do a chain stitch, and there's plenty of different ways to hold your yarn, and there's also different ways to hold your crochet hook, but this is how I hold my yarn and my hook. I hold mine down where you can also hold your crochet hook up like so. But as long as you're working the end of your hook and your yarn the same, it doesn't really matter how you're holding it. So to do our chain stitch, we go underneath our yarn with our hook, and that yarn is going over the top, and that could be an abbreviation of YO for yarn over in a pattern. So we're going to pull through, pulling through that loop, and you've just completed your first chain stitch. Again, we're going to go underneath the yarn with our hook, and the yarn is going over. You're going to twist, if you're holding it the way I do, twist like so. You're just rolling it in your fingers. So yarn over the top, because if you try and pull it like that, it's not going to go through. So you need to twist your hook so it's facing down, the end of your hook is facing down, and then pull through. That'll help you a lot more when you're trying to grab that stitch through. And we're just going to repeat doing this the whole way until we have the length that we need. And I will put the link to the written pattern in the description box below the video, and that will give you a size chart. If you're not sure how long to make your laces and you don't have a pair of laces to go off, you can use that size chart that's located on my website. But if you've just got an old pair of laces and you want to replace them, or you're just changing them, you can use that as a guide. And we're just going to keep chaining until we have the same length that we need. You don't need to count your chains in this project. This is a really the first project that you could make, so we're not going to confuse you by getting you to count them all. We're just going to go by length in this project. So continue on until the length of your chain is as long as the shoelace that you need it for. And when we get to the end of our project, I've made my chain, and these are for a pair of sort of short boots, so I've got a lot of chain in there. I think it's about 60 inches that I needed. So what we need to do is we're going to trim off our yarn. I normally do the same thing. I keep about 2 to 3 inches if it's for sewing in on a project. But for this project, we're not going to sew in our ends, so we don't really want that much. Well, it's up to you. I don't really want that much, so I'm going to cut just around about 1 inch from where it's joined to my project. And these scissors are available on my website as well. They're really great, they're really sharp, and they stay sharp for a long time. So what we need to do is just pull our work out. You can pull just like that and the yarn will come out. There we go. Just pull tight and that will finish off our shoelace. So what you want to do now is just grab the other end. What we want to do, just to make it look, professional and everything, what we're going to do is we're going to cut the ends of our shoelaces, our tails, and we're going to make sure they're the same length. So I'm thinking about that much. There we go. And you can save these little ends. This is the thing that I do. I save my little ends, so if I'm making any toys, for instance, they're great for stuffing. Or you could just chuck them out if you're not OCD like me. So there we go, we have our ends. So normally if on a project we would sew those in, which means that we hide our ends and you can't see them. But on this project I think it's going to make it look really cute. So what you want to do is make another chain exactly the same length, and we'll have our shoelaces ready. So here's my shoelaces in my shoes that I wear all the time. I would love to see your creation. Please share it on our Facebook page. Please subscribe, or there'll be plenty more videos to come. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy crochet.